Hi guys, my name's Ashlyn. I've been with LivBay Lash for about 2 years now. And this channel is dedicated to everything lashes and beauty. So if you haven't already, please make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how we can achieve that dense full look with using a classic set of lashes. So in today's video, we're going to be using our LivBay gel eye pads along with our blue medical tape. And our lashes are going to be the flat classic lashes that LivBay offers. What's really nice about these is that they have a flat base, so it gives the illusion that you're going to have a darker, thicker lash line, and that's how we're going to achieve that look. So on this tray here, I have the diameter of 0.15 with lengths between 9 and 15. And I'm also going to be using a 0.18 diameter as well, and they are also a flat lash. And the glue that I'm using today is the mini black LivBay glue. It's a 1 to 2 second dry time. And the tweezers that I'm going to be using today are the Curvy Babe Isolators, along with the Rainbow Baby tweezers. So to start, we're going to go ahead and prep our client by taping and using the iPads. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and use our iPads and put these on our clients along with our tape. Sorry, put that right underneath. And this part's really crucial just because we want to make sure that her lashes are able to sit nicely, that in a way that we can see all of them and they're exposed nicely. If not, we're going to be fighting with the iPad and the tape the whole session. So make sure you get this right and redo it if you need to until the client is comfortable and until everything looks good. And Bella, go ahead and look up. Perfect. Just making sure that every bottom lash is tucked away with this tape. We don't want any of those poking through as well. And go ahead and close. And as I'm looking here, I notice that everything is tucked away. All her top lashes are very easily exposed. The reason that you want that is because we want to make sure that we can lash every single natural lash that we can. And we can use different diameters if we have to, whether it be a thinner lash or a thicker lash. But if we're able to lash every single natural lash, that's what's going to be able to create that fullness and that dense look, again, with simply using classic lashes. So as the lash artist, I always like to remind my client that you are only going to be able to get as full as your natural lashes allow you to. So as a professional, go ahead and look at their lashes, see if they have any gaps, take note if their lashes look brittle or weak, maybe even damaged from the previous set that they got before coming to you. All these may be indicators that you may want to suggest a different type of set. But if you realize that they have very strong natural lashes, they don't have very many gaps, or they have a lot of layers, that's the great candidate that you can use to get that fuller look. They're going to be able to have more extensions on their lashes, again, thus bringing a fuller, denser look to your classic set. So I'm going to go ahead and prep her lashes. I'm using the Prep Me Lash Prep from LivBay, making sure I'm getting each and individual lash. That way the extensions are able to stick seamlessly. So this primer is an alcohol-based primer, and it helps us strip the lashes of any oil or leftover makeup that they may have remaining on their lid or on their lashes. We know that if there is any oil or makeup on there, these extensions will have a really hard time sticking. So take your time with this step. When prepping the client, I also like to take a micro swab and swab the bottom of the lashes in case I need to attach any extensions from the bottom or from the side. So that way, every angle of the lash is properly cleansed and prepped. So with classics, the way to determine the appropriate diameter lash to use on a natural would be to look at the length and thickness of the natural lash. If you're looking at the inner corner, again, that's going to be the thinnest or weakest area. So you do want to use a very light extension to put on there. Whereas you get to the middle of the eye or even the 3/4 part of the eye, those are gonna be the longest or thickest lashes on the eye. So you're able to use a heavier lash, a 0.18, that is able to hold that. But go through and make sure that you're choosing the appropriate extension for each lash. We want to make sure that everyone is lashed, but don't just assume that to get a darker look, you can use a very heavy lash extension. In that case, your eye is going to be weighed down. Your client probably is not going to be very happy. It's even going to feel heavy. So don't be afraid to use a thinner lash, thinking that it might not give that added darkness. When all those thin lashes are added together, I guarantee you're going to get the look that you're desiring. So in determining the length you want to use on your lashes, it all starts with your consultation. Make sure to ask them if they want something long and dramatic, or if they want something very natural and simple, maybe keeping the lashes a little bit shorter. That'll help give you an idea of what style they're going for, how long you should be making them. And along with that, take note of how long their natural lashes are. Don't just assume if they want something really long that each client is able to take a 15 or 16th length, knowing that these lashes are very heavy. So measure each lash extension to the natural lash, making sure it's something healthy that the client can handle. And a good tip to try and get your inner corners is to really utilize your tape. So whether it be a taping back method or a taping up method, go ahead and pull your eyelid however you need to really expose all those baby inner corner lashes. That'll help you to get more lash extensions on without having to struggle and isolate in a very hard or difficult way. That tape will help to expose all of those for you. I tend to like to start with an inner corner just because those usually are the hardest areas to lash. So if I take my time in the beginning, not feeling rushed to get those done first, I don't have to worry the rest of my set. The rest of the isolation, unless the rest of the lashes are a lot easier to get, and I'm not feeling so stressed to get everything done. So a classic lash extension look will give you that nice mascara, natural makeup look. It may not give you the dramatic, bold, dark look that mega volume set will give you, but it does give a very simple and clean look. And it does have its own unique look versus a hybrid or a volume set. But in today's set, we're going to take this simple, natural, classic look and show different tips and tricks that we can use to give that more bold, full look. And typically with lashing, I like to jump from eye to eye, especially with classic lashes. I want to make sure that the glue is able to dry in time and that I'm not lashing anything too close or right next to it, making sure that the glue does not stick together or lashes stick together. A very easy way to get everything messy or a bad classic set would be to use too much glue or to be lashing too fast, thus getting all your extensions stuck together. And if you've never used flat lashes before, you can still use your normal round-based classic lashes. The same tips and tricks will still apply, just know that you're going to be using a different styled lash. When doing classic lashes, you don't need a lot of glue, just enough to barely lick the bottom or the side or wherever you're going to be attaching the lash. When laying your lash extensions down, don't be afraid to utilize the sides of a lash or a bottom of a lash, wherever is going to be easiest to attach that lash extension. So if you notice a certain lash is gearing to the left, try and attach your extension a little more to the right. Or if you notice that the lash is pointed upwards, go ahead and try and attach that extension to the bottom. Wherever is going to be easier for you to attach it, to make sure that base is flat and flush with the natural lash, go ahead and place it there. I love making sure that these inner corners are really full and every single lash is lashed. Just because they're thinner or shorter, don't be afraid to use a short lash extension on these. It looks a lot darker and it makes the set look a lot more complete if you have them done rather than just leaving them naked. And there's a variety of different types of classic lashes ranging from a 0.15 all the way up to a 0.20. Obviously, a 0.20 is going to be your heaviest, thickest, darkest lash that you can use. But again, make sure that you are picking the right natural lash to attach these diameters. So if it is something thinner, use a thinner diameter lash, like a 0.15. If it is something longer or thicker, you can use something a little bit denser, like a 0.18, maybe even a 0.20 if you like that darker, thicker look. But make sure that you're measuring each lash diameter correctly. And as I keep lashing, I'm able to gradually start using a longer lash, maybe even a thicker diameter lash, knowing that these lashes are naturally getting longer or thicker. And always make sure to take your time with isolation. Don't be afraid to take a longer amount of time, making sure that each lash is properly isolated. Again, you don't want any baby hairs or extensions next to it to get stuck and make that set look very cloudy and messy. Again, don't be afraid to really utilize your tape. If you need to adjust it or to make the lid stretch a certain way to expose certain lashes, go ahead and adjust it. You don't want to be fighting with lashes trying to get something to expose. It's easier just to have the tape do the job for you. If you notice this lash here, it's very thin and quite shorter than the surrounding lashes. So even though I'm out of the very inner corner, I noticed that this little baby lash is not going to be able to handle a thicker, longer lash. So I'm going to put a 0.15 9mm lash on that. That way, again, it's able to be lashed, but it's not going to be weighed down by a heavy lash. So now that we are getting out of the inner corner, we're starting to near some of the thicker, longer natural lashes that my client has. And to make sure that she is nice and full and to get that fuller, darker look with these classic lashes, I'm going to really utilize that bottom layer of her lashes and use a thicker diameter such as a 0.18. But knowing that these are thicker lashes, I'm going to use a shorter lash to counter it. So a 0.18 maybe in a 10 to 12mm lash, being a little bit shorter than the upper layers. Reason being, again, you don't want to overweigh that bottom lash line. You want to make sure that those lashes are able to still hold those lash extensions, but due to it being a thicker diameter, lined up next to each other, you're going to get that dark eyeliner look that they're desiring. And to really get that, go ahead and utilize again your taping up methods, trying to expose as many bottom layer lashes as you can. And the same process applies. Go ahead and make sure you have a clean isolation, pick the lash up, dip it in your glue, and place the lash right on top or on the bottom or on the side of the lash, just again making sure that that lash extension is nice and flush. One thing with these flat lashes, you are going to notice that attaching it from the side may be a little bit more difficult due to it not having that round base, but it will still adhere. Just make sure again that it's nice and straight. So continue repeating this process, whether it be on the bottom lash line or on the top layer of the lashes, of picking the lash up, dipping it, placing it on our natural lash, and again determining which diameter we need to use in order for that natural lash to hold. And go ahead and do it from eye to eye, and we're going to speed through this process until the end. Always just remember what part of the eye you are working on, whether it be the corner or the middle or the outer edges. Again, determining how thick your natural lashes are, but also if they're wanting to do an open eye versus a cat eye, where do you want your length? So a good idea when starting to do your classic lashes or any set in general is to set your longest length where you want it. So if you want your longest length right in the middle, go ahead and even set a single classic lash right in the middle, right where you want that longest part. If I know I want to have real short in the corner, I'll place one of my real short ones there, but that way I have little milestones or little markers of where I want my lengths. Not so much counting each individual lash to build up gradually till there, but eyeballing it, see what their natural lash can handle. But it does help having those little markers, giving me an idea that by this point I want to reach a 14 or a 15. By the edge I want to go back down to a 10 or 11. That way you know when to start gradually decreasing your size or increasing your size. Another tip for your outer corners is going to be something really similar to your inner corners. I placed a simple piece of tape on her lid, and I'm using it to pull back that corner just a tad so that those lashes that are bunched in the corner can be more freely exposed. It's really similar to what I did in the inner corner. I think the hard part, or the part that you just have to get used to, is seeing which way you want to pull that tape. So if you want to pull it completely horizontally, you can see those outer ones exposing a little bit more. If you need to pull up a little bit, and just be gentle. We know that their eye, you don't want to be exposed too much, but again, this will help to get those tiny little itty bitty lashes in the corner. So now that we're finishing up her classic set, we're gonna go ahead and make sure that her lashes are set. And today we'll be using the Climax Bonder from LivBay. And basically what it does is it chemically sets and dries those lashes from the inside out. And this bonder goes a long way. So I like to use these mini micro swabs. That way I'm able to really get in and make sure the bonder reaches each and individual lash. Sometimes with a bigger lip one, it's too much, or you might be soaking up too much product. So again, you don't need very much. You just need to touch the base of each lash, making sure that you're curing them properly. So as I'm brushing through, you can see that even though we use classic lashes in diameters of 0.15 and 0.18, we were able to create a very full and bold look using just these lashes. It does help that we used our flat LivBay lashes, again creating more surface area that's covered, creating that dark line on the bottom. But what's nice is that you are able to create this look, especially if someone likes the look of a classic set specifically. And now that I'm finishing, I'm just going to check and make sure we have nothing stuck to the iPad or to the tape. I just barely lift up on her eyelid and use my tweezers close to brush up, seeing if anything is stuck. Check both eyes. And if you find that one is, simply just grab it gently and peel it back. You don't need to use too much pressure or strength. It usually comes off fairly easily. But that way, once it pops off, you don't jerk their eyelid open or tear any lashes off. And now I'm gonna go ahead and untape her. Before she opens, I'm gonna fan her a little bit just to make sure she's completely dry. She won't be stinging at all. So now that we fanned her, made sure that she wasn't stuck anywhere, we're gonna make sure that everything looks okay and ask her to open her eyes. And here's the final product. Thank you guys so much for watching the video today. Hopefully you guys found some value in the content and you're able to use some of those tips and tricks in your own sets to get a full, nice look. But question for you guys, have you guys ever used flat lashes? Do you like them? Do you feel like it gives you that denser, darker look that you're going for? If so, please comment below. We would love to see what you guys have to say. See you guys in the next video.